Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla. And this morning I am in a cold and damp Sheffield, and I think it's time to do some city autopilot testing. I did a similar test much earlier in the year on the previous software versions of Autopilot. There have been quite a few updates since then. I've noticed that it's better, certainly in the countryside. Let's see if it's improved around the city. So I'm back in the car with the GoPro set up. We're going to do a lap and a bit of the inner ring road around the city. So urban dual carriageways, roundabouts, traffic lights, that kind of thing. And then I've got to dive out to Costco and then on to Rotherham, where we get to do some proper urban streets. So this should be a good test of the whole system. It's a bit damp this morning as well, so the wipers are going to be on for chunks of it. So a true test for the system. On to the ring road, and the first test of course is the lane markings are all over the place because of the roadwork, so it will not pick up the lane markings. Oh, actually no, it will. Hang on, it won't like it. So go to 30. It's not quite sure what it's doing because the lanes then split apart, so it slowed down. We're heading back up to 30 miles an hour, which is good. So all of the graphics have been updated, fairly heavily updated on recent revisions. So there is much better visualization of what's going on around you. The vehicles are shown better, although it thinks that the bus is a car, which of course it isn't. So we want the left-hand lane because we are going to sweep round to the left. Let's see if it finds me the right lane. Come on, there we go. Keep going. It's stopping. So I'm giving it a bit of gas and then having to stop properly. It wasn't quite sure what it was doing then, but the lanes had split and I haven't got navigation on, so there's no guidance that way. And then again, we'll go up to the speed. Yes, I know I could have it set. Now, why is it doing 20 miles an hour? Now it's accelerating. I could have it so it goes straight to the speed limit. Again, I don't know why it's suddenly braking. It's doing it again. Okay. There is nothing behind me particularly. They're in the other lane. Right, go to 40. It is now accelerating up the hill. So far, is it any better than it was last year? No. Is the short answer. It doesn't feel, not last year, earlier this year. It doesn't feel dramatically better. So we're racing up the hill towards a roundabout, so I am going to knock it off because it doesn't do roundabouts. So I'll do manual on this bit just to get me through the roundabout, and then we'll put it back on as quickly as we can. This is lunacy, to be honest, anyway, because you go so steeply up this hill and then just come crashing onto this 5-arm roundabout, which is exciting, and yes, you do get crashes. Now then, how do we do? It doesn't read red lights, of course, so I have to stop the car myself. So I haven't got the FSD Beta Europe version. I haven't got enhanced autopilot. This is standard autopilot, and although it can see lots of red lights, it won't stop for them. So I have to do that bit manually. So standard autopilot is assistance. It isn't really automated. It's, I think they call it level 2 automation. So I am absolutely in charge of the car and driving the car at all times. I am, not the system, me. So where you see people who go on about, you know, Teslas are crashing or whatever, well, I'm sure there are crashes with Teslas. How many crashes are there with normal cars that aren't Tesla, or cars that haven't got any kind of automation system? Because this isn't just Tesla. Remember that the car in the UK at the moment that has got the most advanced level of permitted automation is Ford. So it's not even just a Tesla issue. Okay, back onto autopilot and to 40. .40 actually feels quite fast down here, but it is the speed limit. You're sweeping around that bend and you can't see exactly far past it. So the first of many, many, many roundabouts. So I've just dabbed the brake to knock the system off because I've got to go manually through the roundabout, and then we'll see if we can put it back on again. Well, we will be able to put it back on again. So there's lanes here, but hang on, I can put it back on now, but I'm not going to do because that's too tight a bend. We'll do it now. So although there are red lights here, it'll stop for them because of other traffic. And that's how it works. If you're in traffic, traffic lights are no problem because other cars aren't going to go shooting through. It's only if you're by yourself that it's not going to stop for traffic lights, which is not ideal on this standard system, but I have tested FSD Beta with the traffic light thing. See my Model S video for that, and it tried to kill me a few times. So I wasn't as impressed with it as I thought that I was going to be, but that's only the European version of FSD Beta, which is pants compared to the American version because of the UN ECE regulations. I had to remember what it was for a second. Now, can it navigate me around here by itself? No. Hang on, I've just put it back on. It doesn't. It didn't like that. Well, I didn't like that anyway. Let's go again. Although there was a lane around the roundabout, it's only really for guidance as you sweep around it. I don't think it intends for you to have a car like this drive itself around it. It certainly didn't want to anyway. So we're going to turn left. What we're going to do is we're going to go up to Park Square, which is a massive, great big gyratory roundabout, and then we'll go back around the loop the other way. Because last time I remember just doing 2 laps in the same direction, and when I was editing the video afterwards I thought, why didn't you turn around? Right, it's trying to turn me into the curb, which I'm not having, so let's get around there. Basically, the UN ECE regulations stop it from having the steering wheel turning off, okay? So in America, you'll see their FSD tests and the steering wheel is twirling like a banshee. We're not allowed that. The regulations are being looked at again as more and more manufacturers are putting automation systems in. So I am hopeful that in 2024, it's late 2023 now, but in 2024, they might let us drive the way they're intended to be. So again, there's a red light, I don't have to do anything, the car will stop because it's stopping for traffic. It wouldn't stop for the red light by itself on this version of Autopilot. It hopefully would stop for the pedestrians because it does have collision avoidance and all of those goodies. This is where the ring road just becomes a normal street. As you can see, 2 lanes in each direction, and it's doing fine. What I do want to do though, I'm just going to knock it off for a second because I want to change lanes into the right-hand lane because we need to do an orbit at the big roundabout coming up ahead. And if, hang on, which lane are we going into? The right-hand one, please. Is it? Nope, it's trying to put me into the other one, which is fine. It's picking a lane. It just picked the wrong lane. But if you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. And secondly, the blue lines, the 2 blue lines that you get, that shows you that Autopilot is running, like now. So I have to hit the brake to stop because, again, it would have just sailed me straight through the red light following the traffic. I'll put it on as soon as it'll let me, which is now. Let's see how it copes around here. So it's made that turn perfectly fine, although we're only doing 20 miles an hour. Now, this is probably where I need to override it because I want to keep sweeping around. I don't want to go that way. And then, yeah, we've got a red light coming up, so switch it off again. This is one of the problems that you do have, though. If there's lots and lots of junctions and things that you need to intervene on, even with the FSD Beta Europe, you still have to intervene quite a lot. So I'm kind of stress testing this for your amusement He went straight through that on red. Oh, it's an Audi. Well, of course it's an Audi. I am stress testing this. That's an amber, by the way, guys. I'm allowed to go through on amber. He went through on red. And because we have done an unusual move around here, we are going to get stopped basically at every set, as you've just seen. Because it's a gyrator, they want traffic to flow in directions they're likely to go, and people are unlikely to come from the station and then go back to the station. Okay, let's put it on as soon as you can put it on. Which is now. So it's only saying 23 mile an hour because I have it to engage at the speed I set it at, but that's fine for this bend. Yes. And now I'll pull and hold down the stalk and that'll advance it to 30. But there's no point in hurrying down here. This is not a road to be speeding along. Especially as you get up to the bit past the station where it really does get quite busy with pedestrians most of the day. Again, the graphics, the visualizations that you get are much better on these later versions of Autopilot. So I'm running 2023, is it 44.3 or something now? So there's been a lot of recent updates and it looks so much more convincing than it did previously. So this is basically FSD visualization mode or something, which again, they can all do. So we go around here absolutely fine. It helps that we've got some traffic in front. We've got an even tighter bend coming up. Let's see what it does. It's trying to turn me into the curb a little bit too much, which I don't like. And then I need to change lanes because I am swinging around to the right in a minute. What's Mr. BMW here doing? I don't know what Mr. BMW here is doing. Genuinely. I don't think they know either. Now, let's see if it slows itself down around here. It won't, because it doesn't know that I want to turn, so I just dab the brakes and slow it myself, because the lane just splits. Maybe if I'd put the indicator on, which I don't need to do legally, but maybe if I'd put the indicator on, it might have thought about it. We'll have to test that somewhere else. If there's a lane split and you indicate, will that help? Because I honestly don't know. It's slowing itself down for no particular reason that I can think of. Again, it's doing it. I'm not sure what it's unhappy about. And now it's going. So you do have to hover over the throttle pedal. And this is the point about you are in charge of the car at all times. So the people who criticise it saying, oh, it's going to cause an accident. Well, it's not going to drive itself off and crash into something. If it does that, it's your fault, not the car's fault. How many people drive manually and crash into things? You are in charge of the car. Keep going, car, you know you want to. So although it's a 40 limit, I'm not going to let it accelerate up to 40 because we've got a roundabout going up ahead. So it will brake because the guy in front of me is slowing down, but then I am going to turn it off now because it will not have a clue what to do on this roundabout. Yeah, we've lost the little steering wheel symbol, so that's it taking itself off. I will put it back on now. Now we can go to 40. Although there is another roundabout coming up ahead, but that's okay. What is it about people who get to something like that and start swinging into your lane? Stop it. So I've just dabbed the brake to knock it off again as we approach the roundabout, which I will do manually. This drizzly rain keeps changing in intensity, which is causing havoc with auto wipers. It's not quite sure what to do with it. Honestly, auto wipers on this car still don't work properly, but you know what? Auto wipers have never worked for me on any car that I've ever had, and I've had it on Vauxhall, BMW, Volvo, Mitsubishi, Hyundai, I've had auto wipers and all of them. I would rather set the thing manually, and that's always been the case. Now, see, this is the problem with a 40 miles an hour limit on a road like this, because when the lights change like that, you don't have very long. That was fun. Now, it's saying 20 because there's a 20 off to that side. It's not 20 on here, but if I put autopilot on, maybe until it passes this 40 roundel here, let's see. No, it's still saying 20, but it is a 40 limit. And another 40. Come on, car. This is going to be a this is going to be a problem, because I cannot use autopilot now because it thinks it's a 40 limit. Because it thinks it's a 20 limit, excuse me. Oh, it's back to 40. Good, right. So, it will stop itself now on autopilot, which it does. Oh, learner driver pulling away very slowly. But that's okay, we've all been a learner. The worst thing you want in learning to drive is learning to drive in traffic, but of course you have to do at some point. Right, lane is splitting, good, it's picking the lane in the centre, which is the way it should have done. This is going to be entertaining because I will have to knock it off. It has no clue how to do roundabouts, as we've said. I'm not sure the learner knows how to do roundabouts, and to be fair, this one's a horror. I remember first coming to this roundabout in 1995 and thinking, oh Lord, because I'd been driving for a year at that point, and this was the worst I'd ever seen. It's not too bad now that traffic's relatively light, but if it's busy, cars are just throwing themselves onto it when there's a gap in every direction. And then you've got the stupidity of these pedestrian crossings right on the exit, so traffic queues across the roundabout. Okay. Back down the hill. Nope, don't do that. 40 please. So we're going to go to the bottom, and then we're going to turn right to follow the ring road, which means I need to do a lane change and then re-engage it. If you have got the option to have single pull or double pull for autopilot, unless you've got FSD or EAP, you need to use the double pull. So I don't need to do anything because it will stop with the car in front. It won't see the traffic lights. Well, it'll see them, but it won't do anything, but it will stop for another car. But yeah, single pull versus double pull. Traditionally, you had to go double pull on the stalk to make autopilot come on. There is now a single pull option, but if you have got standard autopilot, that doesn't work for you, because as soon as you change lanes or you do anything else, it'll knock the whole system off. With a double pull, you've still got traffic aware cruise control even if the steering knocks off, so you'll maintain your speed as you change lanes. So I gave it a nudge on the throttle then just to make sure that it was going. I didn't need to, it was already going. Again, will it have a clue what to do around here? This lane is fine, and then we're going to line up behind the truck here. So if I indicate, no, I still have to pull on the steering to stop it from going the other way, which is fine. I didn't expect it really to do anything else. Some big potholes, and the amount of money they've spent fettling this ring road and widening it and things, and yet it's still it's still a mess. Right, let's see what it does. Is it going to adjust me across? It's trying to follow the other line, so I'm kind of straddling the lane, so I've got to adjust it manually. And then we go back onto the normal lane. When can I put it back on now? Okay. No, you don't need to go into that lane, mate. You can, unless you're going all the way around, you can turn right in this lane because they've changed it. Look. Yeah, that was a complete waste of his time. Oh, he's going all the way around. Okay, fine. Right, I'm going to knock it off here because I'm uncomfortable with this truck drifting across at me. Okay. See, it did the split there perfectly fine. Again, it's doing this brilliantly well, which is good because when it's a relatively straight a non-complicated system, Autopilot's brilliant at this. It's when it turns into chaos, and there's plenty of road layouts in the UK. If you're watching from around the world, we've got plenty of layouts where it's just stupid. It's a mess. You've got bits of lanes splitting off everywhere. We have that yellow hatching boxing you might have seen a few times, which means you can't enter it unless the exit is clear to stop you queuing across it. There's a variety of different mad things that we have which will confuse the pants. They confuse the pants off a lot of drivers, never mind the car. So we're going up here and we are turning left. So that's the end of my loop around the ring road, but let's go down the Parkway and then we'll go off and find lovely Costco and then on into Rotherham. Nope, don't go into that lane, go into this lane. Again, when I'm letting it do these things, there is no one immediately behind me or around. Where I'm not happy with the surroundings, I took control, as you saw earlier, when I was next to the truck. So I'm not letting the car put me into danger. I'm driving, okay? For something like this, obviously, it's a doddle. It can handle this, and it can almost have a snooze. It's that simple. And yes, I am manually hitting the wiper button because it keeps changing in intensity, so I can't even manually override it and set my own speed because I'd be having to constantly adjust that as well. I'm just giving it a wee nudge where it needs it just to make sure that we can see properly. It's annoying, but it could be worse. I could be out walking in this and getting persistently wet. Had to knock it off to come off, which is fine. I'm not even going to think about it around this bend. I'll be in the barrier. It's turned itself off anyway. Good, good, good. So we're going to drive the thing manually now, and oh Lord, is that the queue for Costco? It might well be. So I need to jump across the lane. Good, good. We'll do that. We are out of Costco, and boy was that fun. I'm glad I went in first thing in the morning because it's going to be terrifying later on. Anyway, more Autopilot fun. The end of the Sheffield Parkway. We're still going to be on dual carriageway, but somewhat lower quality. So again, this should be an interesting test. So we can see traffic lights coming up ahead. I can see traffic slowing. I'm covering the foot brake in case I need to disengage, but I don't because I can carry on up to the next junction. It's a 50 miles an hour limit, and obviously it's doing that. Again, I'm covering with the brake because I am in charge, not the car. And we're on the red. I've disengaged. I've just nudged the throttle, nudged the brake pedal, sorry, just to disengage it so we can regen our way to a nice, gentle stop. And once you understand the regenerative profile of the car, you can do that and time it beautifully like that. So you get the maximum regenerative power possible. There wasn't anybody directly behind me, so we didn't need to worry about that, to bring us to a relatively smooth stop. I don't have one pedal driving switched on because I don't like it, and yes, I know other people do. Good, enjoy it. I don't. So I have it on creep mode, so it will slow me down to about 5 miles an hour and then get that little bit of creeping forward until I choose to stop with the foot brake. Go. A slight nudge on the throttle pedal there just to persuade it that it was okay to go. Sometimes it wants that reassurance. Again, I am driving, the car is not, but off we go. And that again was, I restarted it whilst stationary and let the car pull away. So an even lower quality bit of dual carriageway than the last one. That was 50 miles an hour. This is 40 miles an hour. Pedestrians off to the right. Again, I'm covering the brake just in case they decided to make a run for it. So we're going second left at the roundabout coming up ahead. Nicely round there. So the lights are changing to red ahead, so we should stop because of traffic. And it's slowing down, it's in the cars coming out, and it's braking itself down. I am not doing anything. So again, once you have got traffic ahead of you, it'll do all of that automated and absolutely fine. And again, now it will pull away by itself. I'm not going to do anything this time, and the car starts creeping forward. It's a little more hesitant maybe than I would be, but it's being safe. And again, it's a safe system. The people who say it isn't a safe system don't know what they're talking about. Let's see. Nah, it won't go around there because it doesn't like it. So it's disengaged itself, which is good because I would definitely have needed to disengage it to go around here. As soon as I re-engage the lane, I can put it back on. Another weird roundabout coming up, which it will not like. We've got parked cars coming up, which it will not like. So I am going to have to deflect around them. Yeah, I know you're shouting at me for the line, but it's absolutely fine to be straddling the line because of the parked cars. Go, 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 go. You're supposed to cross that line. You're supposed to cross that one. It's a lane coming across. Right. Let's have another go, shall we? Oh, it is a 40 limit. Okay. So I use the right hand dial on the steering wheel to move the speed limit up in chunks. He is going to go, yeah, he's going straight through on red. Good. I am not. So I've had to apply the brake because, again, it will see the red. Yes, exactly. Thank you. I stopped. He didn't. Pedestrians should not have to thank cars for stopping at a red light. That's a bit ridiculous, really. Okay, off we go. So I've re-engaged. Again, because I have it set to engage at the speed I am going at, you can change it so that it will go straight to the speed limit. I don't like it that way. I like to have more control. So the two ways of getting it up to the speed limit are long pull on the right hand stalk or touch the speed limit roundel. Either way, I've done both in this video. So it's a 40 mile an hour limit. There are roads and driveways and side accesses and things and trees, but as you can see, it's relatively straight and sweeping. No problem at all for the car. Good sight lines as well because of the grass verges, which does help. So it brakes for the guy who went across, but that was sensible because we've needed to brake down for the guy who pulled out in front and has gone to 30 miles an hour, not 40. It is still a 40 limit. So on a road like this, again, autopilot's brilliant. It gives me more time to actually visually sweep. I'm looking for hazards and other things. I don't need to worry about speed because the car's doing speed or staying in lane. I'm looking for hazards coming up which might be an issue. Now you saw there it flashed blue. You have to apply a slight bit of tension to the steering wheel at least once every 30 seconds or so, or it'll start shouting at you. I am doing so. I've got my thumb just gently resting against it, and that's all that's actually needed to be able to do so. We have got turning traffic, that's okay, and we're coming up to a roundabout. Now I want the centre lane, so I've just given it a slight dab on the brake to knock it off, and then we will, I probably could have left it on actually, so let's just do that. Put it back on, because it's an autopilot test. So I'm turning right, and 2 lanes turn right. This roundabout does have lane markings around it. This could be entertaining. Again, I am ready to take over. My foot is covering the brake, I'm on the steering. There's nothing around me. So it shouted a little bit, and it wasn't quite sure which of those lanes to go into. Again, they weren't perfectly aligned. If you noticed, they were not perfectly aligned, and that's the issue. If they're not lined up, the car isn't quite sure which one to go in. I'm sure in other countries, you probably paint your lines better than we do in Britain, but we make an absolute dog's dinner of it, especially on a roundabout like this, to be fair. That car who came very close to me then, to my right, had a load of side swipe markings on the offside doors. Sorry, the near side doors. Yeah, you're not kidding. And another short bit of 30 miles an hour, kind of wide single carriageway. It's doing a decent job of keeping me in the middle, although it's wandering slightly because it's not sure about the intermittent cycle lane thing, which is a complete waste of everybody's time. And I'm nearly where I'm going, so we'll cut here and go to a wrap-up. I'm recording this wrap-up a few weeks after I shot that video, and as you can see, we've had some snow. So in summary, would I use autopilot in towns and cities in the UK? No. No, I wouldn't. I literally use it for testing purposes to see if any improvements have been made, and to be honest, they're not good enough. What we get in Europe, thanks to the UN ECE regulations which have been imposed, is literal rubbish compared to what is available in America. And unless we're going to be given that, there isn't really much point in using it here in town. It's fantastic on motorways, it's really good on other fast roads, but in urban areas, it's just a liability. So I am going to do some more autopilot testing on fast roads to see whether the updated software is now really good on the twisty stuff. I've got plenty of those around here. So if you want to watch that video, make sure you've liked and subscribed, hit the bell icon so you know when it comes out. I'm really grateful to all of the people who watch these videos, comment on them, are interacting. We're building a community and it's a lot of fun. So if that's you, thanks. And if you want to join that community, you know what to do. Anyway, on that happy note, we're going to leave it here. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you back here very soon on Just Get a Tesla.